Welcome back to Talk 1260 KTRC. You're listening to Western Medicine, the Humanity Behind the Vanity, a show about plastic surgery. Got an interesting little segment coming up from Scott Thomas, our psychotherapist.
Thank you, Danielle. You know, we were just talking a few minutes ago, and we wanted to bring this out to everyone and share it because it seems so important that when a spouse goes through a type of procedure, a surgery, and they change their outer image, it creates a lot of dynamics within the marriage oftentimes. It can bring up tension. Whenever couples are like this mobile almost, that when you change one side, it affects and changes the other. And they have to go through sort of a dance, and oftentimes tension is involved there because they have to rebalance. And so when one part of a partnership, a couple, changes something very important and powerful about their identity, they're also changing this balance they have in the relationship. And now it doesn't always come out quite as on top of things as that. Sometimes things leak out sideways,
Right.
And so all sorts of disruptions can come up. But if you have this awareness that this is something that can happen with the procedure, you can at least sort of talk through it together, and you'll see different things that sort of go on with the couple. You can feel the tension that whatever fighting or disruption that comes up is really the symbol of something underlying. That all couples have this very important dynamic of power and control that plays back and forth in the relationship. And sometimes if someone, let's say, they had felt self-conscious about their nose for years, you know, they had that vulnerability, and suddenly that vulnerability is gone. And their partner says, well, but hey, I still have my vulnerability. We're not even now.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates resentment. It creates sort of a disruption and an upset. And that's going to play out in some ways because that person who's feeling exceptionally vulnerable now, they're going to try and find a way to reestablish the balance. And it may be with fighting, it may be with being dismissive, which in therapy we always think of as abandonment rejection, which is one of the scariest things for people that they can go through. And then people start feeling like, you know, the other person is going to feel, well, hey, I got this done, and I wanted this done so that I did it for you too, not just for me. And they start to feel resentful. And that resentment goes back and forth, and it starts to build unless you have this sort of awareness and you sort of have a heads up that after this, I get this procedure, some things might come up. And here's how we're going to deal with them. So I always encourage couples to sit down together and talk about, you know, what are the possibilities? You know, what are the wonderful things that are going to come out of this and the joy? And what could be the things that we're going to have to spend a little time communicating and working through and share those feelings? You know, a lot of times people think, and men do this a lot too, because we can be very analytical, and we think if a feeling comes up, if it doesn't make like rational, cognitive sense, if it's not worthy of analysis, sort of, we should never speak it, we shouldn't bring it up. But feelings and logic are two sort of separate realms. And you have to really bring those things up. You can't be afraid to talk about them and share them. So I always encourage couples, have the dialogue, stay healthy. If you shift the balance in your relationship, keep the communications open, keep talking about it. And that's the tip for the week.
Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you very much. You're listening to Scott Thomas on Talk 1260 KTRC Western Medicine. If you want to talk to Scott on your own, please call our office, 982-2440. He's a psychotherapist, PhD, but much deeper than that. Thanks again.
Thank you, Daniel.